Have you ever looked at a VA disability decision and just wondered, how did they get that number? It can seem pretty confusing, almost like a black box. Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify the VA's official rulebook to show you exactly how it all works. I mean, this is the big question, right? How does the VA take a real-world medical condition, a bad back, tinnitus, PTSD, and translate that into a specific percentage, like 30%, 50%, or even 100%? Let's dive in and break down that process. The secret, if you can call it that, is all in this document, 38 CFR Part 4. Now, that sounds super technical, but just think of it as the VA's official rulebook. This is the guide they use, the source of truth for evaluating and rating every single disability. So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the philosophy behind the ratings, those core principles. Then, we'll get into what total disability actually means. After that, we are going to tackle the infamous VA math. Then we'll take a quick tour of how the rulebook is organized and wrap up with why all of this really truly matters for you. Okay, first things first. Before we even get to the numbers, we have to understand the why. What's the core idea driving this whole system? It all comes down to a few key principles. And this quote right here is probably the most crucial piece of the entire puzzle. Ratings are about the average impairment in earning capacity. Let that sink in. At its heart, a VA rating is an economic assessment. It's about how your condition impacts your ability to earn a living. And that leads us to this really important distinction. See, it's one thing to have a medical diagnosis, like arthritis, but what the VA actually rates is the functional impairment. How does that arthritis stop you from doing things in your daily life and, most importantly, at work? That's the key. Now, this is a big one. This is a rule that is literally designed to help you. It's called the benefit of the doubt rule. It means if the evidence is a toss-up, if it could go either way on how severe your disability is, the VA is legally required to rule in your favor. It's a powerful tool for veterans. All right, let's talk about the big one, total disability. What does it actually take to get a 100% rating? It's not always as straightforward as you might think. There are a couple of ways to get there. The most direct path is what's called a total scheduler disability. This basically means your impairment is so severe that it makes it impossible for the average person to hold down what the VA calls a substantially gainful occupation, which is really just a way of saying a job that pays above the poverty line. Okay, but what about this scenario? What happens when your ratings don't technically add up to 100%, but you know you can't work because of your service-connected conditions? This is a really common situation, and thankfully, the VA has a plan for it. And that plan is called TDIU, or Total Disability Based on Individual Unemployability. This is huge. It lets you get paid at the 100% rate, even if your combined rating is lower. Now, to qualify, you generally need to hit one of these two thresholds, either one single disability at 60% or higher, or have a couple of disabilities that combine to 70%, as long as one of them is at least 40%. And now, let's tackle the beast, the part that confuses just about everyone, VA math. You'd think that a 50% rating and a 30% rating would add up to 80%, right? Well, nope, not in the VA's world. Let's see how they really do it. The secret is to stop thinking about simple addition and start thinking about efficiency. The VA starts with the idea of a whole person, or efficient person, of 100%. Each disability you have takes a percentage away from your remaining efficiency.
Let's just walk through an example together. It's way easier when you see it step by step. So you start at 100%. A 50% disability knocks you down, leaving you 50% efficient. Simple enough. But here's the trick. That second 30% disability, it takes 30% of the remaining 50%, which is 15. So you add that 15 to your original 50 and you get 65%. The VA then rounds that to the nearest 10, which gives you a final rating of 70%. See? Not 80.
This little table just drives the point home. That top line is the one we just did. 50 and 30 combines to a 70. But look at that second line. A 60 and a 20 also gets you a 70% rating because the math works out to 68, which rounds up. It's all about that efficiency calculation. Okay, so we've covered the principles and the weird math. Now let's talk about the rulebook itself. How is this thing actually laid out? How do you find what you're looking for? Thankfully, it's organized in a way that makes a lot of sense. It's broken down by body system, so things like knee or back problems are in the musculoskeletal section. Vision and hearing are in organs of special sense. Mental health conditions have their own section.
It's all categorized so you can find the specific criteria for your condition. And in each section, you'll find these 4-digit diagnostic codes. Think of them as a serial number for your specific condition. It ensures everyone is being rated using the exact same standard. So, after all that, why does any of this matter? What's the point of learning about CFRs and VA math? Well, it's simple, really. Understanding the rules of the game is the single best way to empower yourself and build a stronger claim. So let's just recap the biggest takeaways. Number 1, ratings are all about how your condition affects your ability to work. That's functional impairment. Number 2, if it's a toss-up, the tie has to go to you. That's the benefit of the doubt. Number 3, VA math is weird, but it's based on efficiency. And finally, number 4, knowing this stuff helps you focus your evidence and tell your story in a way the VA can understand. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Now that you know the rules, now that you know what the VA is actually looking for, what's the most important part of your story that you need to tell them? Answering that question is where your power truly lies.